The experience of the Nigerian Super Eagles is still very much in the news this morning. Virtually every newspaper has a story or two. Look at the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Football foul play. Nigeria, CAF go head-to-head over Super Eagles Ordeal in Libya. The details of that story you find on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. The same story is on the front page of the Blueprint newspaper. 2025 AFCON qualifiers. Nigeria demands justice over Super Eagles' harrowing experience in Libya. Ekon Boniface Osime lament ordeal. Treatment sad, despicable, say NITCOM, Sheikh Husani. CAF refers case to disciplinary board. Libya FA denies sabotage. The details of that story on the inside pages. This Nigeria has the same story. Nigeria fumes over inhuman treatment of Super Eagles in Libya. Demands swift justice from Libyan authorities. Tinubu excited over safe return. Details on page 63. The Vanguard newspaper has the same story. Cup of Nations qualifier, how Libya held Eagles hostage in disused airport for 15 hours. And look at the riders. Diplomatic row erupts over a deal of the players. Players recount ordeal, lament no food, water, Wi-Fi for over 16 hours. Team touched down at Malam Aminu Kano International Airport at 6 p.m. yesterday. FG summons Libya charged affairs in Abuja. Tinubu demands swift justice, welcomes safe return of Super Eagles. The details of that story continue on the inside pages of the paper this morning. The Daily Times has a different story. At NESD 30th Summit, Tinubu demands collaborative action to drive economic growth. The details on the inside pages. Nigerian News Direct has that same story from this angle. Nigeria's economic challenges are surmountable with right policies, according to Tinubu. Advocates diversification, says removing fuel subsidies key to economic recovery. The details on the inside pages of the paper this morning. Look at the front page of the Daily Independent. World Bank accuses FG of using oil wealth to service the elite. NESG asks FG to cut governance cost, says poor getting poorer. The details of that story you find on the inside pages of the paper this morning. The front page of the New Telegraph has Nigeria's high earners to pay 25% personal income tax from January 2025, says Oyedele. FG to exclude the poor from PIT. Man bemoans multiple taxation. Stories on the inside pages of the paper this morning. The Nigerian Tribune has flood sacks 200 communities in Kogi. Government calls for help. Houses submerged in Benue after 9-hour downpour. The details of that story on page 19 of the paper. Business Day has World Bank ties Nigeria's recovery to reforms. Tinubu determined to pursue reforms to stabilize the economy. As from Shetima, the Vice President, find the details of that story on the inside pages of the paper this morning. Look at the front page of Daily Trust. 15-year-old student sues Education Ministry, JAM, NUC over admission policy. Says 18-year admission threshold discriminatory. We're not aware of case yet. That's according to the ministry. The details of that story you find on the inside pages of the paper. These are some of the papers we have for you today.
Well, you heard, that's Ayo with us in spirit. At least you heard him in the papers there. And of course, you can see the outrage all over the front pages over what's transpired in Libya. It's still very much there. I was just reading to Chamberlain the statement of the Libyan authorities. Really, really disrespectful, if you ask me. I mean, when you look at this, it says, I'm trying looking for the particular part now. He says, we firmly reject any claims that suggest foul play or sabotage in this situation. They say it is important to highlight that just last week, our own national team faced significant challenges upon our arrival in Nigeria for the third match of the Africa Cup of Nations. Despite the difficulties we encountered, we did not make public accusations nor question the integrity of the Nigerian authorities. Football in its essence unites nations, and we're committed to upholding the spirit of fairness and mutual respect both on and off the field. And it went on and on to talk about how, they are very warm. Hosting this event is a great honor for us, and they want all teams to feel safe and respected as their guests. Then you have to ask, if this is how you treat your guests, then how do you treat your enemies? Because certainly yesterday, our Nigerian Super Eagles team did not feel like guests on Libyan soil. But I think we can always talk about that issue. There are other stories on the front pages this morning. NESG clocked 30 celebrated 30 years of their own existence yesterday, contributing to policies. Talking about Nigeria's economic reforms, quite an event they had yesterday. And you see there, Nigeria witnessed best economic reforms from 2003 to 2007. And they also had some words. So you might want to look at the front page of New Telegraph, which had that. And what else again will I highlight for you? One more story which I'd like to highlight, Chamberlain. I don't know, I think you'll fall under this bracket. Also on the front page of New Telegraph.
What does it say?
Nigeria's high earners to pay 25% personal income tax from January 2025, says Oyedele.
Says if you earn 100 million naira a month. So yes, I will fall on that. Of course, I will. Because when there's life, there's hope. Even though hope deferred makes the heart sick.
You've read the story already?
That's what he said.
You know it's 100 million naira.
That's what he said. If you earn 100 million, then of course.
Don't run away with the headlines and don't take Chamberlain at his word. Read the story and know whether you fall under that category of those to pay 25% personal income tax from January 2025. But yes, this is Mr. Oyedele's committee. Don't forget, the federal government has been working to streamline taxes and make sure we are paying in one stream. Well, who knows? You might be paying more or less depending on where it is you fall in the category of income. So let's leave it there for New Telegraph. Anything else stick out for you?
Yeah, I tell you, it's not easy to have hope in this economy, actually, but you have to do what you have to do, because without hope, what else is there? So the tax team looked as if they stop it on one hand and take it back on this other side. These policies,
it's how government
seemingly confusing tax policies. But whichever way, much as this Nigeria highlights how Nigerians felt about the Super Eagles, but what we know from Libya's experience in that previous fixture was that they were supposed to land in Uyo, but somehow they went to Port Harcourt.
Yeah, there still needs to be explanation for that. As I said, Chimling, our tardiness cost our team this.
I'm trying to see if it's tardy, because what we know is that the NFF said, from what I also have read, that they only knew, I think, 2 hours before they arrived, they went to Port Harcourt. And even at that, they rallied, got buses for them to go from there to Uyo. They refused our buses because they refused to pay extra. Because if you're making additional measures other than the one that's been provided, they said there's extra cost. So if you haven't budgeted for that one, you have to pay a little extra cost. They refused that. So they had to go for another bus. And then they told them, don't travel at night. They disregarded all of those things. And then they gave them security. They said they had issues. And then they sat down in the airport area, and then they took pictures. And they said this was under an hour or thereabouts. So that's the account, unless NFF will come forward and then speak a little more publicly about what transpired. So, and then they took it as though it was deliberate. So, but this case is different. Our case is different. You deliberately diverted the plane. You deliberately took away their food. You denied them internet services. There was instruction for them to be delayed for hours. And so, of course, that is not right. So anyway, CAF is looking into that matter. But interestingly as well, several papers also highlight a student. Daily Trust highlights, I think the student is suing the Ministry of Education, saying, look, you can't discriminate against us. 15-year-old saying, look, we need to be able to go to school at a certain age. So they're going to court to decide that. Let's see what happens, how the court rules on that one. It's 21st century, so they feel we should be thinking a lot differently. So the law is made for man, not man for the law. Whatever law cannot bend will break, as they say. So we'll see what becomes of that.
But you know what? I mean, while this is commendable, I'd like to see what the laws have to say. You have to ask, though, can this 15-year-old student sue? There'll be questions as to whether you're of a legal age to be, because don't forget that if it was the other way around, if the state were to sue a 15-year-old, wouldn't that person be categorized a minor?
So question of locus, and then the parents also having, so that's why you should read that story and find it, because the parent is involved. So the parent, we understand, is also a lawyer. And so they're looking at all those dynamics. So locus,
but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how the courts decide. However, I must tell 15-year-olds, if you also fall into, don't be in a hurry. Trust me. There'll be, by God's grace, there'll be plenty of you. Will have a long, full life. There is nowhere to enjoy being a child. Take it from an adult. Enjoy being a child. There's no need to hurry to be an adult. You know, discover life on somebody else's bill. Your parents are willing to pay. Where are you hurrying to? I don't know, but
different strokes.
Different strokes, I guess.
Different times have changed. Some 12-year-olds are millionaires these days.
No, Chamberlain. Times have not changed. Times have always been like this. We have always seen parents who always want their children to move fast. Oh, my child got double promotion. Oh, my child didn't do KG3. Oh, no, they didn't do primary 6. You know, we've seen that since I was in primary school. We've been seeing that. But with benefit of hindsight, we realized that we're not exactly doing our children justice with benefit of hindsight. And I think that even in places where the education policies are said to be superior, for instance, in Finland, in Denmark, in the Scandinavian countries, where children are not allowed to start school until they're about 7 years old. A lot of people now, I mean, we were talking about Jackpot syndrome, and a lot of our young people, middle-aged people have, well, middle-aged will be my age now, you know, Jackpot that left the country, who have young children. You find that a lot of them have been taken back a few classes, their children have been taking a few classes back, because they find your child has been too forward. Your child should take time to learn certain things. Enjoy playing. Enjoy being a child. You know, you learn from play. And that actually has an effect on the cognitive skills of that particular child. What do our children do? We're in a hurry to teach them how to write. How has it affected our development?
Well, the percentage of those kind of people now is the issue. So it will be tantamount to what they call argumentum ad baculum. If you have to paint everybody, put everybody in that light. But don't, but you know.
What did you call it again?
Argumentum ad baculum. But you know.
Lions, help me.
But the context of what I mean by times have changed is in the context of the resources that were available to 12 and 15-year-olds 10, 15, 20 years ago is available today. So in that light, there's a lot that they can do. You could stay in your home and earn.
Yeah, but even in the Western countries, I mean, what facilities are we talking about, or what resources are we talking about that these countries currently have? I mean, that we are claiming to have, and those countries perhaps have 10 times what we have, and are saying no, these children should go back to those classes.
There are outliers, and so we cannot afford to
there will be
block those
outliers,
kind of
and
people.
of course we will make room for even abroad. They do have.
We shouldn't put a glass ceiling. If they put a glass ceiling, anyway, the court will decide all of that.
Exactly.
But we don't believe in putting glass ceilings to certain people. So we believe that there are people who are that's what they're called geniuses.
Yes, so I'm sure that people like that. There must be threshold. Every child in Nigeria is now a genius, from what we're seeing.
Every child.
Oh yes, at this rate.
I give up.
Every child.
Okay, I don't know. Well, if it's that case, well, I give up on that one. If every child is what?
At this rate.
So there you go. Hey, by the way, tell us what you think of all of this anyway, whether it's Super Eagles or what you just heard. We'd love to hear from you. Look at those emails there at the ticker. Send us a comment or two. We'd love to hear from you. We're back in just a moment, everyone. Stay on with us.